4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studio in New York City. A fusion of politics, commentary, entertainment, and sports. Steve and his team bring you the latest news and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to Governor George Pataki, some news on the ceasefire front between Israel and Hamas. Hamas is reportedly saying now there will be no extension of the ceasefire unless their demands are met, which is ludicrous on its face. All right, I want everybody to watch this, and then we're going to get to Governor George Pataki.
See, last week, RGA Chair and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie dismissed the idea of spending any RGA money to campaign for Rob Astorino, the Republican who's challenging Christie's fellow governor from across the river in New York, a guy by the name of Andrew Cuomo, a Democrat. And in characteristic Chris Christie fashion, and lost causes. This even though the RGA pumped $1.7 million into Chris Christie's own re-election bid last year, a race he won by more than 20 points, which sure sounds like a landslide to me.
All right, folks, joining us now is Governor George Pataki, former three-term governor of the state of New York, founder and chairman of the Pataki-Cahill Group. Hello, sir.
Steve, nice being with you
again.
again.
Always good to see you. All right, we had Rob Astorino on the show a couple of days ago, and I asked him about the lack of support from Chris Christie and his race for governor of New York. Here's what he had to say. Why won't he endorse you?
What he said to say that my race is a lost cause. He has no idea about the dynamics of this race and who votes. And you know what? People thought his race was a lost cause in 2009.
Do you think he should be ashamed of himself?
I have said so, absolutely. I think he should have apologized. And I do believe that if he's going to be campaigning in California for a candidate who is down in the polls, if he's going to campaign in New Hampshire for a candidate who's down in the polls, then I'm not so sure why it's so difficult to drive through the Holland Tunnel, Lincoln Tunnel, or I know there's traffic on the George Washington Bridge, but come across.
Ooh. That was a very good line by Rob Astorino about traffic on the George Washington Bridge. Let me ask you, should Christie, well, what's your read on it?
You know, first of all, I think there are two things here. First, Rob is a very good candidate. This is not somebody who we took out of some remote area. This is someone who, for the last 5 years, has been the county executive of Westchester County. Almost 1 million people, 2-to-1 Democratic county. He not only won and did a great job for 4 years, he got reelected in a landslide against the mayor of one of the largest cities in Westchester. This is a strong executive, a good candidate who can appeal across party lines. Then there is whether or not it's likely or not that he's going to win. This is New York. It's a Democratic state. It's an uphill fight. But I'll tell you, in '94 when I was running, I heard the same thing, you know, over and over again. Who is this guy?
Right, and you were from way upstate?
No, I was from Peekskill, New York, and I was running against the mighty Mario Cuomo, you know, so I heard over and over again. You know, and if people had decided in July what the outcome was going to be, I would have never had a chance to win. But people waited, they listened, they looked, and come November, they gave me this tremendous opportunity and privilege to lead the state. And for the head of the Republican Governors Association,
that's the thing.
That's the problem. The head of the Republican Governors Association in July to say it's a lost cause. Sure, it's an uphill fight, but Rob is a very good candidate. Bigger surprises have happened. And in politics, Steve, you know, in 3 days things can change. There's still 3 months until November. And ironically, the next day after Governor Christie said this, the Times ran this front page article about corruption in Albany and the Moreland Act Commission. So who knows? And at the very least, you know, be supportive of the Republican candidates, particularly when you're the head of the RGA. You don't have to put millions of dollars into the race, but just understand that when we stand together, we have a far better chance of winning.
And that's the thing. I mean, you know, we talk about people and discounting, but as you pointed out so eloquently, he's the head of the Republicans Governors Association. Should he step down if he can't support the Republican candidate from the state of New York, his neighboring state even?
Well, that's for the Republican governors to decide. But I have to tell you, it's upsetting to me. You know, one of the things that Republicans in overwhelmingly Democratic states always have a hard time doing is recruiting great candidates. We got Rob Astorino, a great candidate to step up. And to the extent that leading Republicans, particularly the head of the Republican Governors Association in July, says it's a lost cause, it makes every other effort we make to try to get good people to run as Republicans that much harder. So let's just all rally behind Rob. We understand it's an uphill fight, but he's a great candidate, a proven executive, a proven vote getter, and let's hope that between now and November he can make the case.
One with Hispanics, one with Democrats. So
Rob is fluent in Spanish.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone knows the Republican Party has to do more outreach to Latinos. And you know, this is...
And he did it twice.
And he did it twice. This is an excellent candidate. And is he going to win? I don't think anybody could sit here and say absolutely yes, absolutely no. But the head of the RGA should at least be encouraging that effort to win.
All right, well, having said that, things could change in a day or two in politics. As you said, the next day after Christie made this ridiculous comment, the New York Times, of all people, come out with the corruption article on the Moreland Commission, which the governor formed to battle corruption, statewide corruption. Right. And now there's an investigation, a U.S. attorney investigation. Rob is calling for a state investigation in case any state laws have been broken. We have reports of his confidants now being called before the committee. We don't know, before the attorney, we don't know if Cuomo has talked to a grand jury or to the attorney. Where do you, how devastating could this be? How far could this go, do you think?
Well, you know, we just don't know. And I think that's part of the point, is we don't know. I mean, obviously, I wasn't a part of any of these discussions or anything, and I don't want to be unfair and from the outside speculate that this may have happened or that might have happened. But the U.S. attorney is conducting an investigation. I think the people of New York know that Albany is hideously broken. There has been far too much corruption. I think it's over 20 legislators in the last few years have been convicted of felonies.
Starting to sound like New Jersey.
Well, I don't know that we're that bad, and so who knows where this might lead. But what it does do is make the people sit up and take notice that this is not a bad thing to have a competitive race and perhaps change in Albany. And obviously, I'm for Rob.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk a little national politics. You know, your name has been bandied about from time to time as far as seeking a Republican presidential nomination. Is that over?
Steve, I'll tell you, people have talked about it in 2000 and 2008 and 2012, including me.
Yeah.
You know, because I did look at it. This time, I don't want speculation. I don't want people to think, if I were at any point to decide to get back in, you know, you don't dip your toe in and pretend. Either you're in or you're out. And the one thing I will say is that I was saying how Albany is broken. Washington is perhaps even worse. It's just so broken down there. And we are failing a government. Our government is failing the people of this country. Globally, domestically, there's not one major issue, and we have major challenges facing this country that Washington has been able to even remotely try to solve. And it's enormously disappointing, and I think any of us, all of us, who care about this country have to get involved in some capacity. That doesn't mean as a candidate, but help fight the fight to take our country back from those who believe government should dictate how we lead our lives.
So you're just to be clear, so you're definitively, because you implied it, but you didn't say, you're definitively not running for president.
Steve, I am definitively saying nothing.
Okay. Wait, saying nothing?
Saying nothing. What I
but
said
you just
is,
said if you were going to run, you can't like dip your toe.
That's
and
right.
You got to go. So
That's exactly right.
So you're leaving open the door?
It's still summer.
Okay, so you're leaving open the door.
I do not.
You're not saying no.
People have thought about it in the past. I have thought about it in the past. I don't want people speculating. There are probably a dozen candidates out there.
Because I thought you were leading to say, and you can't dip your, and therefore
That's
I'm
right.
saying no. But you're not saying
what I'm saying
that.
is either you're in or you're out.
But you are neither in or out.
At this point, I'm spending time with my family on our farm in upstate New York.
Are you going to Iowa anytime soon? Have you been there?
Not recently, but...
Are you headed there?
We'll see down the road.
But are you planning to go there? Like you have plans now to go to it on a state?
I don't, as of now. I know the state fair is the last.
Well, what do you make of the
10
field?
days.
What do you make of the Republican field of the usual people that are mentioned? You know who they are? The Christies that ran from Christie to Rand Paul to Jeb Bush to Ted Cruz.
every one of them would be a dramatic improvement over Barack Obama, and every one of them would be a dramatic improvement over Hillary Clinton or, God forbid, Elizabeth Warren. You know, we just have seen the Democratic Party switch from being a liberal party with some conservatives to where I think it's now a leftist party with some liberals. And we see that with Barack Obama. We see it with Elizabeth Warren. We see it here in New York City with not a liberal mayor, a leftist mayor, Bill de Blasio, who goes to Cuba on his honeymoon. And this is the new Democratic Party. So the weakest of the Republican candidates, in my view, would be a dramatic improvement. This race, to me, is about not just who's going to be the president and Republicans or Democrats. It's about the nature of this country. Are we going to be a country where a group of elites in Washington tell us how to lead every aspect of our life, including now what doctors we can see and what health care we can purchase? Or are we going to continue as the successful model for the rest of the world that we've been for 225 years, where people could tell the government what to do and we make our own choices how to lead our lives? That's the essence of the choice. Any one of our candidates would be far better than what we have or are likely to have from the Democrat Party.
What do you make of this superseding Congress, the pen?
Yeah. And
he keeps saying, I have it, I'm going to do it, I use it, I'm going to use it again.
You know, it's hideous, it's wrong. And what is probably more infuriating to me is I remember, you know, we're in New York. And the New York Times wrote article after article about George Bush, the imperial president, and how Congress has been so weak in not taking back its powers and asserting separation of powers. We have a president who is trashing the Constitution in ways that were only dreamed of. I think, what is it, 13 times in the last 2 years, 9-0 Supreme Court decisions he acted unconstitutionally.
That's an unbelievable.
Where is the media when we have an imperial acting president?
Having said that, we got a couple of minutes left, or a little less. Impeachment? Do you like that word?
No, I don't.
You agree with the lawsuit?
I think Congress has to do what it can to try to gain back those powers. I don't think impeachment is the solution. Right. I think any other legal method to take those powers back, one of the things being the House is the power of the purse.
Governor, thank you so much. Great to see you.
Good to see you.
Appreciate it. All right, folks, Governor George Pataki, and we're coming back with senior writer at the Washington Examiner, Philip Klein. Don't you go away. Newsmax Television, the Steve Malzberg Show.